I, 30 female, recently bought a house for my former nanny. My entire childhood, I was raised by my nanny, Jane, as my mom was the breadwinner and my dad wasn't in the picture. Jane attended every after-school activity, graduation, and parent-teacher conference. Jane raised me, and I see her as my second mom. My mom employed Jane as a nanny and housekeeper from when I was 2 until I was 28, when my mom passed away due to cancer. As a result, I inherited everything. My mom was a successful surgeon with her practice, and my grandparents left her with a few properties in her home country. I have since rented the properties out, giving me an excellent rental income. Well, after my mom passed away, Jane was there for me. She helped me make all of the funeral arrangements and contact relatives from my mom's home country. After she helped me through this challenging time, I wanted to do something nice to thank Jane. As a birthday gift, I surprised Jane with the deed to a 2-bed, 2-bath house in the area of the country where she had always talked about wanting to retire. Jane tried to decline the gift, saying it was too much, but I told her she was like a second mother to me and that this was the least I could do for her as thanks for raising me. Somehow, word got back to my dad that I had bought a house for Jane, and he turned up at my mom's old practice, demanding to talk to me. I didn't even know who the man was, as I've seen him less than 20 times in my entire life. He claimed to be my father and yelled at me for buying a house for a stranger over someone whose family, and says that he and his family of 5 have been struggling financially. He even had the nerve to say that I should buy a house for him and my half-siblings, whom I've never met, because they are my blood family, and I owe it to them. I laughed in his face and told him that Jane had been far more involved in my life growing up than he ever had, and I didn't care if he was struggling financially. Security then escorted him to his car and ensured he left the property. My dad's side of the family's now been trying to reach out through Facebook. Complete strangers who I've never met, saying I'm an idiot and that my mom never let him be a part of my life. I know this is false, since I remember my mom calling him over the years, asking him to pick me up on weekends to spend time with me, and he never did. I tried to talk with my friend Aiden, 34 male, about this problem, who recently reconnected with his dad, whom he hadn't seen since he was 6, due to his dad being incarcerated. Aiden told me that my dad probably had a good reason for abandoning me, and that I was an idiot because some people don't even have dads. I reminded him that I was one of those people, and now he's refusing to talk to me. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your sperm donor and his flying monkeys can fly on by. You don't owe them so much as a hello. As for Aiden, he doesn't get to compare his family dynamics with yours. He's comparing apples to radiators. I hope you or your mother will provide a pension for Jane to live off of, or she'll have to sell the house. Exactly. And screw Aiden and anyone else who says your dad had a good reason for abandoning you. Also, what the heck? I'd love to hear a logical example of how he had to abandon you, but went on to father and raise other kids. If your dad had any reason to abandon you when he was able to be a father, he would have come to you, explained, apologized, asked how he could reconnect with you, and honored your response. He didn't reach out when he was actively parenting his other kids, or even when your mom died, only when he realized you had an inheritance. He still doesn't want to be your father. He just wants your money. You must feel bad about losing your friend, but you shouldn't. He isn't worthy of you, so walk away with your head held high. Holy crap, Aiden's projecting. His dad was unable to take care of him because he was incarcerated. Your dad was free, but taking care of his second family, and you became important only when he heard that you got rich and are generous. You did a kind and generous thing. Jane deserved it for being like a second mother and being there for you during difficult times. Family's about the relationships and connections we build, not just biological ties. Don't feel bad about prioritizing the people who've been there for you, regardless of blood relations. I, 48 male, am a single father of my daughter, Belle, nearly adult. Her mother divorced me a long time ago and refused to take custody of Belle, settling for just visitation instead. They still keep contact from time to time, and her number is listed in Belle's school records as an additional number. A few days ago, she called me, absolutely furious, and lashed out at me, saying that I'm a horrible father and a horrible human being and don't parent Belle right. I asked her to calm down, but it was in vain, and after a good 5 minutes of nonstop screaming, she finally told me what her problem was. Apparently, Belle and her friends developed this habit of driving around town searching for jaywalkers. When they noticed one, they'd pull up to them and lay on the horn, scaring the crap out of them. Belle was driving and her friends were filming and putting the videos on TikTok. The school found out about that and contacted her mom. I asked Belle about this, and she showed me the videos. In all honesty, they're hilarious, and to be completely honest, being honked at is the safest thing to happen to those who choose to jaywalk. I told her everything was okay, and that the school and her mom just overreacted. I don't see anything wrong with this. It's just funny and harmless, and it's not like she's throwing paint or running anyone over. Belle continued with her behavior, which made her mom angry. She called me again to yell at me. I told her that she was overreacting and that it's just a harmless way to have fun. I asked her to stop policing Belle, as she was not the custodial parent. She called me an idiot and said that that's exactly the reason why she divorced me and why she didn't want to deal with Belle, as she, quote, grew up to be a massive idiot like me. I'm now wondering if I was the idiot. I can see why Mom didn't want anything to do with the kid. It sounds like you made a copy of yourself. You are the idiot, and so is your daughter. I had a visceral response to this. You need to be proactive here, and it sounds like you're as childish as your daughter, who is still a minor, so she can be excused for her childish behavior and lack of foresight. Have you ever considered all the possible consequences of this behavior? It's entirely possible that someone could get hurt, seriously hurt, as a direct result of your daughter's actions, and she could be held legally liable for what she's doing, even if the people jaywalking are also partly to blame legally for being in the roadway. Her entire future could be in jeopardy, and someone's life could be put unnecessarily at risk. For what? Some stupid views and a few laughs? Dude, I can't believe you're calling this a harmless prank. Your daughter isn't the police. It is not her job to search for jaywalkers and mete out her form of justice. The fact that you cannot or will not acknowledge that this prank is not funny and unacceptable makes me think that your ex-wife knows you better than you know yourself. Belle is an apple that's not rolling far from the tree. For context, I, 25 male, and my girlfriend, 23, have been together for a year, almost 2. When we first got together, it was great. I had literally no complaints about her, and something I even told her early on in the relationship during a conversation about our likes and dislikes, that I don't find body hair on women attractive. I'm only talking about the armpits and legs. Everything else, I don't care. She didn't mind that I had this preference because she told me that she didn't like the sensation of body hair on her. Well, recently, she started growing out her body hair. Her armpits and legs almost look like mine now. I've asked her multiple times about it, not to remove it straight up, but why has she been growing it out? She said she saw a TikTok about body positivity, which made her feel more confident. I tried to like it, but I can't. It doesn't look good. I finally told her straight up that I didn't find it attractive. She didn't like that and said she didn't want me to be like one of those men. I told her if she didn't shave, I would break up with her since I didn't find her attractive because of this. Let's say she got furious and said I'll never find a woman who shaves daily for me. Am I the idiot? Edit, I could not be forced to like it. LOL, I didn't straight up tell her that I was going to break up with her. This was after multiple attempts of me trying to ask her about it and saying that I wasn't attracted to it. I'm disabled, and I told my partner that I can't physically shave my legs, So if he wants that to happen, he has to do it himself. Have you considered offering to put in the time and energy to shave her yourself if you care so much? Or would that be a hassle and a waste of your precious time? I mean, yeah, you're allowed to break up with her, but it'll be an interesting life if you plan to only date women who are constantly shaving. It's just not possible. This level of superficiality is going to bite you down the road. Sorry, but you are the idiot. Yeah, it's always been seen as a small thing for women to do for their partner's preference until literally any of the inconvenience is on them. Like, okay, I'll keep my whole body shaved if you do. Let's see how long that lasts when they discover the joys of ingrown hair everywhere. When they got together, he had no complaints. The world's greatest love story is tragically brought down because of body hair. I disagree. No idiots here. She can have her body hair, and you can walk away. Some women don't like men with long or short hair, beards or shaven. The same can go the other way around. It's a preference, and that's okay. Time to move on. You'll find someone who shaves, and she'll find someone who accepts her for who she is. If your relationship can't weather a little body hair, what hopes does it have for when a real issue arises? This is best for you both, if this is how little you're willing to adapt for each other. Had breast cancer and a mastectomy on one side at 32. My hubby said, being alive looks great on you and never made me feel uneasy. Long-term relationships don't happen if body hair can be a deal breaker. Update. I looked through most of the comments, and I understand that I'm an idiot. I decided to break it off with her. She did not take it lightly, decided to insult me, and threatened to break my stuff. She ended up leaving, though, after some time to stay at her mom's house. I didn't realize at the time it was messed up for me to give her an ultimatum about this, so I deserved the insults. Thanks for the judgments, though. Changed my view on this sort of topic. But I thought it would be a good thing for the both of us to move on from each other. My parents have 3 kids. That's me, nearly adult male, my sister Lila, teen, and my other sister Gracie, tween. Gracie's been sick since she was born. She has a bad immune system, so ongoing health problems that mean getting common illnesses are bad for her, and they send her to the hospital. My parents have been fighting hard to keep Gracie healthy and safe and out of the hospital. This has meant Gracie's been the kid my parents focus on more, and this also means she gets all of their patience and understanding. My parents take a lot out on Lila and me. We cannot need or take their attention away because we're the worst. Examples. Lila fell when she was 8 and was bleeding a lot. She ran to her mom crying because she was upset and sore. Mom got mad at her and asked if she couldn't see that she was dealing with Gracie. She scolded her super hard and claimed that she wasn't a baby and had no reason to cry over it or run to her. Lila was forgotten at school when she was 7, and she cried in the car on the way home. My dad scolded her for acting up, and he told her she was big enough to understand that accidents could happen. She cried to me when she got home. Lila was having trouble at school, so the principal called our parents and requested a meeting. They were temperamental with her, and for days would ask, "Don't you see us struggling enough? Why can't you deal with it yourself?" Lila was 10. I need help with math. Always have and always will. A few years ago, I was sick for 2 weeks, and then my parents kept me home for another 2, so I wouldn't bring anything else home to Gracie. I needed a lot of help to catch up with math, and my teacher needed my parents' signature to keep me for extended help after school. My parents said that they'd sign it, but forgot, and got mad when I reminded them. Then, when my teacher called and asked them to have it the next day, my parents told me I was so selfish with their time, and they were so bad-tempered with me. I broke my arm when I was younger, and my parents were called to the hospital. Mom showed up and yelled at me that I should be ashamed for taking her attention away from Gracie, who needed her. Those are some specific examples. We take a lot of steps to help keep Gracie away from sickness that we might pick up. We do our best to not make her sick. I never minded because I got it, but I do hate how my parents treated me and Lila. Now my parents are struggling. Dad lost his job and makes less. My parents are very stressed. They've asked me to take some of the weight off their shoulders and help them, give them time off, and give some money from my part-time job to the household. And I refused. I'll be moving out as soon as I turn 18. I've been saving. And my parents don't deserve my help when they resent me forever needing it as their kid. They have not been good parents to me in years, but they were before. My parents got so mad and told me I was so unfair to them. Am I the idiot? Lock down your credit, and the very minute you turn 18, make sure they can't access your accounts. Get your important papers now, Social Security card and birth certificate, and keep them hidden from your parents. Not the idiot. Walk away, but be there for Lila. If your parents continue to hound you for financial support, keep telling them no. If they don't stop, feel free to bring up their ongoing neglect and abuse towards you and Lila and tell them to get second jobs because you're no longer their scapegoat or a punching bag. I want to make sure you understand this 100%. You are not being unfair to them. They do not get to treat you with complete disregard, abandon, resentment, disrespect, disgust, etc., and then claim that you're the one being unfair. It is entirely reasonable to save up for your future and protect yourself. It is absolutely not unfair. I wish you the best. My sister, 29, was a nightmare growing up. That is a fact, and my parents did not handle her well. She was 16 when they gave up and sent her to a camp. It was horrible for her. The moment she was 18, she left and was on her own. She hasn't been in contact with them since. We got back in contact a few years ago, and she's much better. I'm in a much better place too, and we've been slowly reconnecting. I'm engaged and my wedding is this year. I sent her an invite and she gave me a call. She asked if our parents would be there and I told her yes. This is where we argued. She wants me to not invite them, or she won't show. They were horrible to her, and how dare I invite them? My argument was that they had treated me well, and it's not my fault they sent her away. Also, she was pretty feral as a kid, but I don't hold that against her. We went on for a while, but in the end, I told her that if she couldn't handle seeing our parents, not to come. She hung up and thought I was being a jerk. Am I the idiot for telling my sister if she can't handle seeing our parents at my wedding, she shouldn't show up? Edit. My parents tried therapy. My brother has no contact with her due to the extreme bullying she put him through as a kid. The camp was a minor reform camp. Also, another point, when she was sent away, obviously my parents didn't know these camps were awful. They were advertised to help kids, a safe place to help kids when parents can't figure it out. Not the idiot. Your wedding, your guest list. But it seems your parents did mistreat your sister. You would do well to listen to what she has to say on that subject. You should also read up on families that have golden child or scapegoat children, because your experience of your parents was probably very different from hers. How they treated you was probably very different from how they treated her. Once you do that, you may find you don't want your parents there either. This was not at all like a golden child scapegoat situation. This was one kid who was wildly out of control and another kid who was not. Also, OP says they also have a brother, and he still has no contact with another sister due to the abuse she engaged in toward the younger siblings. They are going to have different experiences with their parents. Their parents were treating them differently because they behaved radically differently. Would you want OP to have been punished for not doing anything wrong? Sent her to a camp? What was that about? I mean, for the most part, you invite whoever you want to your wedding, and anyone who says, I won't go if X is going, the proper response is, we're so sorry you won't be able to attend. But the camp thing reeks of abuse. Was it conversion therapy? That poor sister. OP, your sister wasn't a nightmare for no reason. Your parents failed her to the point where all she had to do was cut them off to grow. No one cuts off their entire family for no reason. It's one of the most difficult and painful things a person can do. It's almost always a last resort. You are the idiot and an abuse enabler. Thank goodness for your sister that she got out of there.